Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with maybe the single most anticipated Recur figure ever. We have Osborne, the 1/35th scale Tyrannosaurus Rex, and as you can see, we've got a gorgeous image here on the front of the box of our T-Rex. And then if we go up to the top, you can see a really nice Recur logo, basically front and center. The underside doesn't really have a whole lot outside of a barcode, and if we turn the box around, you'll see some information and everything here on the back, but not a whole lot going on. Basically just a really nice looking box. This is basically a slip cover for the box, and then when we move it open here, actually I don't know, it's just a piece of cardboard that's kind of in the way. Once you pop it open, you'll see how the figure is packaged in here nice and safe, and you can also see a card down here. So I'm going to go ahead, get the figure out of the box here, and then we'll check it out in just a moment. So once you open it up, again, we see the card here that we saw basically on the inside of the box. You've got a really nice, very cool, kind of like a kind of artsy sort of image of the T-Rex there, and then once you turn it around, you take a look at the back, you can see some information on the dinosaur and all of that fun stuff. And then of course we have our Tyrannosaurus Rex itself, and man, is that ever nice. Let me go ahead and just bring the camera up just a hair so we can kind of center this out, but that is definitely one of the single nicest Tyrannosaurus Rex figures that I have seen in such a long time, and it is also without a doubt such a massive increase in quality from Recur's old products to their new products. Like, it's crazy. Who would have seen this coming only a few years ago? Like, I always liked the Recur products, but to say that Recur was going to jump to being one of the absolute top of the line dinosaur figure creators out there, like, that's amazing, but not something a lot of people probably saw coming. But obviously at some point Recur decided to completely change everything up when it comes to their figures, the style, the material, and even the way they go about it, to now making much more accurate dinosaur figures. And like I said, definitely one of the nicest Tyrannosaurus figures on the market anywhere. So let's go ahead, jump to a closer look, and we'll check it out from there. So starting up here at the head sculpt of our T-Rex, look at that head sculpt. That is absolutely gorgeous. They definitely did a great job on the overall sculpt of the head, as well as the fine detail. You can see some very nice looking skin texture all throughout the course of the face. You've got those larger scales here moving along the jawline like we like to see on Tyrannosaurus nowadays. Same deal down here. You've got finer skin texture as you move back further through the course of the lower jaw. A nice cluster of larger scales right there. And again, when you come up here into the upper part of the head, you can see finer scales and skin texture like in the palate and back near the eye socket and stuff. Really nice overall. You've got the nostrils sculpted, and of course you also have lips for the figure, which is really exciting. You've got an articulated jaw on top of everything. Once you open the mouth, you can see the skin detail in there. Looks really good. You've got some nice skin stretching on the inside of the mouth, and the teeth look really good as well. You can see a nice gloss coat to them, which helps them shine. They're painted with a nice white tone, and that shine helps them to look very realistic, very lifelike. You can see the same thing for the lower jaw. Really nice, precise paintwork actually for the teeth. You can see there's just no sloppiness on the paintwork of the teeth. It looks great from every angle, so definitely a huge plus. And you can also see a gloss coat shining there on the skin stretching once I open the mouth and everything. And you can see the detail on the inside of the mouth. Looks really nice actually. The gloss coat also pretty much abundant through the entire inside of the mouth, giving it that nice saliva-like look. We've got a tongue sculpted in there, and I like that the tongue looks almost like it's a separate piece. It adds a nice dose of realism to that aspect of the figure as well. Nice darker pink bordering on a reddish tone for the entire inside of the mouth. And when you look at it right there, it honestly looks like it has a genuine throat, which is also a really nice touch for the figure. You do have quite a bit of variation of color in the face. You've got all sorts of different tones of browns, like you've got a darker brown here, slightly lighter here. Then you've got different variations of darker browns as you move through the course of the upper part here of the head, and you can see how they kind of like stripe down into this lighter tone, and then you have this really nice lighter tone that kind of moves along the jawline. You also have more of that lighter tone here on the lower jaw, which looks really nice. We've got a yellow eye with a black pupil that also has a nice gloss coat, so it has that realistic sort of eye shine. And then you've got this lighter, almost like a yellowish or orangish brown, moving along the upper part of the snout up above the eyes, which looks really good as well. Definitely a nice touch when it comes to that slight element of flashiness here in the face. As you move up into the top of the head, you start to see this darker brown pick up, and you can also see a black kind of following along the spinal column, and we have these really subtle stripes that move down through the course of the body. Like, they're really smooth, really natural looking when it comes to that striping. I like that they're not overly thick or overly intense when it comes to the application. That slight, smooth kind of striping looks really good. There are also different variations of browns, and as you move down, you can see that there's like this darker brown, but it allows this kind of lighter, almost like an orangish or yellowish brown, to creep through some of the areas of the skin texture, which looks really good. The scale detail as well looks fantastic. Moving down through the course of the neck, we've got some osteoderms poking up here and there. You can see them up here on the top of the neck as well. All sorts of kind of creases and very nice, very fine skin detail. And an extremely smooth transition as we move down from the darker brown to like a yellowish brown, and then a lighter tone on the underside of the dinosaur here. And you can also see some nice pinkish tones added. That's something I really love when companies do that, because I feel like it is realistic and definitely quite natural. You can see the throat itself looks really good. The pinkish tone kind of follows along down here. You can also see it in the front of the chest, which is a very nice touch on the part of Recur. As you move down through the course of the body, you can see a good bit of beefiness to the stomach of the dinosaur, and in general I feel like it is a pretty big and intimidating version of a T-Rex. I also like that you can see kind of like some injuries and stuff sculpted out. I noticed one up here, a little slice taken out of the back. You see a few here on the side of the stomach. Very nice elements of realism added to the T-Rex, and I like that within some of the different areas you can also still see that lighter brown kind of creeping through, just adding a little bit of extra depth to the paint job. Like, it looks like they've kind of dry brushed some darker browns over. You can really see it here in the thigh as well. But as you move down into the arms, you can see that nice yellowish brown as we transition back to the same lighter tone that we actually see on the underbelly and up in the lower jaw of the T-Rex. You can see a little bit more variation of brown on the back there. Some muscle definition shining right there. And as you move down into the hands, you can see we transition to a darker brown, and then you have the nails sculpted nicely. We actually have a black for the nails, and that looks pretty nice. I also love the positioning of the arms. I feel like that's in a really nice natural position overall. Definitely a really good spot to honestly have the T-Rex holding its arms as it's kind of walking along. And then we move back up into the back. You still see the striping effect moving down, the spinal column again following along the back of the dinosaur. And then as we move back here, you can see the hip bone. Again, more striping leading along the back of the dinosaur. Also a few more stripes as you lead down here. And again, the skin detail looks out of this world. It is so nicely done. You've got a few more osteoderms as you lead into the thigh of the T-Rex. Really nice muscle definition, like a big muscular looking thigh and calf. Look at the calf bulging right there. You've got the kneecap shining on the front of the leg, nice curving and wrinkling of the skin in the joint of the knee as you move down into the foot. And as you move down into the foot sculpt, you've got a very nice, very bird-like foot sculpt for the dinosaur. It again transitions to a very dark brown as you lead down into that foot sculpt. You can see that the toes have some scoots moving down, and the nails are also quite nicely sculpted, and you can see the dew claws as well are sculpted. There's no difference in coloration for the nails. It looks like it's basically just the same dark brown that we have for the feet. And then as we move back up, you can see again that striping effect continuing to lead out there through the length of the tail, which looks really, really nice. We also have more of those kind of like slight pinkish tones moving along the underside of the T-Rex here and there. You've got some skin folds and wrinkles. You can see that yellowish tone kind of following along on the underside of those browns. And then you lead out, you can see a really nice curve to the tail as you lead out through the rest of the T-Rex. It looks really good. Moving along the underside, the skin texture continues to look really good down here as well. You can see the cloaca is present, and even on the underside where we have these light tones, you can see kind of like a very light brownish tone that's been applied, just adding a little variation of color here to the underside, a little more depth to the paintwork of the Rex. And as we turn it around, around and we take a look at the opposing side here of the head, again, it looks beautiful. We've got the eye painted perfectly, nice gloss coat on the eye, helping to give it that realistic eye shine. All the really nice paint work and sculpt work and everything we saw on the face on the other side is present on this side. And as we move back into the body, you can see again more of the same as far as the way that it looks. The dinosaur does have its head turned slightly toward its left, so you can see again a little bit of a difference when it comes to the visual from one side to the other, but it doesn't look too far off. Like, it's not massively different to the point where you're going to see a huge difference in the way that the skin detail looks or anything. As you continue to move back, you see more of those kind of like orangish browns through some of these darker browns, which looks really neat. As we move down into the body, you can see the skin texture again continues to look absolutely out of this world. We've got the arm in pretty much the same position over here as what we had seen on the first side. As you move up, you see that striping again continuing to lead along the back of the dinosaur, and then we lead back here into the thigh. Again, that striping effect, the muscle definition is really nicely present. You've got the knee again, the big bulging calf muscle, extremely strong looking and large thigh. You've got a few skin wrinkles here moving into the stomach in front of the thigh, again due to the positioning of the leg. And then you move down into that foot sculpt again. You've got the very nice bird-like foot sculpt. And then we lead back up, and on this side you can now see again a little bit of wrinkling back behind the thigh as we lead out into the tail, and the tail now curves away from us on this side as my camera loses complete focus of it. But undoubtedly, that is one of the nicest Tyrannosaurus Rex figures that I have ever seen. As far as a size goes, for a length on our T-Rex, from the snout to the tail, you're looking at roughly around 12 inches, so about a foot, or around 30.5 centimeters. And then for a height to the back of the neck, about 5 inches, or I'd say right around 12.5 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect A human being next to our Recur Osborne, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and you can see that it definitely has quite the nice size to it, and is very similar in size, even though very different as far as the positioning goes, but very similar in size to the Papo T-Rex overall, which is also, again, I believe a 1/35th scale T-Rex, so it makes sense that it would be of a very similar size, just posed a lot more naturally. Then for a size comparison I know people are going to want to see, we have Wilson the Tyrannosaurus Rex next to Osborne the Tyrannosaurus Rex. So basically PNSO taking on Recur, and I can say it's amazing that we live in a day and age now where you can take a Recur figure, place it next to a PNSO figure, and honestly, I think Recur might win this round. Like, Recur's Rex is absolutely gorgeous overall, and it truly shows, I think, next to Wilson here. But you can also, in general, see that Wilson and Osborne are pretty much the same size. Then when it comes to a comparison with another Tyrannosaurus Rex that is out currently that I know, people are quite fond of, we have the W Dragon version of the T-Rex next to Osborne, which you can see the W Dragon version is just a little bit bigger. We've also got the Safari Ltd T-Rex, which you can see as well is very similar in size to our brand new Recur version. And although this is my repainted version, you can see the Beasts of the Mesozoic 1/35th scale T-Rex next to the Recur Tyrannosaurus. Yet again, they are the same size. And they should be, of course, considering they're the same scale. And then for one final comparison, we also have the Rebor Tyrannosaurus Rex, which you can see is obviously a little bit bigger than Osborne. The Rebor Rex is a good bit on the larger side when it comes to most Tyrannosaur figures out there, but Osborne isn't too far behind in size. I almost forgot to give you guys a comparison with the Recur Triceratops that had recently come out. Definitely a must-have comparison with these two. Again, you would want to see the most iconic battle of all time take place here when it comes to the Recur figures, and you can see they look great together as well. So this brand new Recur Osborne the Tyrannosaurus Rex is absolutely beautiful, and up until this point I would say is definitely the best when it comes to the Recur dinosaurs as a whole. Like, I have yet to see. And all of the newer figures, all of these newer Recur releases are all gorgeous, but nothing in my opinion has been as beautiful as this T-Rex. A lot of figures very, very close, like the Triceratops, the Mosasaurus, the Brachiosaurus. They're all so nice and so close to as good as this, but this T-Rex is honestly on another level. The sculpt is fantastic from head to tail. It is really impressive in the detailing department, as well as capturing so much realism when it comes to like the skin wrinkles and folds, as well as injuries and scars and stuff throughout. And very, very impressive, very vibrant scale detail, variation to the scales and everything. You know, the cloaca, everything that you want to see on a T-Rex is found on this. It's also nice and big and bulky, like we like to see our Tyrannosaurs nowadays. It does have lips, which is also a huge plus. It has a very nice naturalistic paint scheme to it. I think the coloration and the paint application is perfectly applied. There is honestly nothing I would change about it when it comes to the coloration of a T-Rex. I feel like this is pretty much in my brain what I would see as far as the way it would look. So I love the colors on this. Again, the paint is really smooth as far as the application goes. Very nice and naturalistic. I love the really subtle striping moving down through the course of the body. That's just a really nice touch as well. And of course, the pose is nice and natural. Nothing over the top or crazy. It's just kind of standing there, almost looking like it's surveying its kingdom. That's kind of my takeaway from it. So, without a doubt, the best Recur figure to exist so far right here before us. This absolutely phenomenal Tyrannosaurus Rex. So if you are interested in grabbing one of these and adding it to your collection, I will include a link in the description to where you can do that. And of course, this is coming to the Amazon Recur store sometime in the very, very near future. I will let you guys know in a news video once this is available to buy on Amazon. So, you know, you can either buy it now through the link that I will include in the description, or you can then buy it once it actually shows up on Amazon, which is again coming very soon. So make sure you check those links when it does go live. Absolutely grab this Rex. It is a must-have. And like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.